There is something absolutely mesmerizing and fascinating walking in the footsteps of those who are long gone, experiencing what they experienced to some degree. It is an undescribable experience of how you can feel when you just walk around and wonder, just briefly, here and there, what did they do here? What did they do there? Hwaseong Haenggung Palace is one of those areas. It almost felt like I was walking in the presence of death. Wondered if the people who walked these grounds ever wondered what would happen in the future. Did they think about the future to the same degree that we do today? Or did they live in the moment? Hwaseong Haenggung Palace was a temporary palace where the king and his family retreated to during times of war. It was not only used as a temporary palace or a shelter. When it was not wartime, the king came here to visit the tomb of his father. His father, who is infamous, more famous than he is, for, unfortunately, something that makes you stare into the face of death itself. This is Crown Prince Sado. Well, obviously not this figure that you're seeing now. I'm just taking you around and telling you the story. Side note, they made fires underneath those boards during winter to heat up. They were cooking themselves to stay warm. We're going to come back to Crown Prince Sado in a second. I love and obsess with how different people live. What was the daytime routine? I often find myself wondering. I like visiting places like this, not malls full of people, but walking the hallowed halls of those who are long gone. I came here on a Sunday around 10 o'clock, if you want to know. It was quiet enough. I took in everything. Walked through and wondered how many times did they walk through here? What did they cook? What did they eat? I find peace in a place drenched in dread and death, in my personal opinion, because what I knew about Crown Prince Sado. If you want to find out more about Haenggung Palace, Hwaseong Haenggung Palace, I am sure there are places and videos that can tell you more detail than I could. But I want to talk about the fascination of death, the obsession with death. It is something we all are walking towards, something that haunts me sometimes, that drives my anxiety. But the obsession holds to my storytelling, my writing, my choice of games, movies. What is it about death that scares us? In my opinion, it's not death itself, but it's the unknown. What comes after? What happens? What are you feeling? No one knows. There are beliefs, obviously, but scientifically proven facts of the happenings of the story after death is unknown. Superstitions and theories thrive, and conspiracy theories, obviously, but that within itself leaves us obsessed, and sometimes, unfortunately, the nature of how you meet that can become an obsession as well. We all wish to meet death as a friend, as peaceful in our sleeps. But sometimes, unfortunately, not all goes to meet death in a peaceful way. Like Crown Prince Sado. Crown Prince Sado was accused of some vile acts, of which I would not mention here. His erratic behavior led him to be punished, and various other things. But it is the way it was dealt with that would be talked about for years and even centuries to come. The happenings of the monarchy, the family, was the business of the country. Everything that happened could shake the very foundation of the country. However, why was Prince Sado, Crown Prince Sado, executed in the way that he was? Why wasn't he exiled or punished or stripped of his titles, which was acceptable in those times? However, he was ordered by his own father to climb into a small box, a rice chest. He was sealed in and died slowly of starvation and dehydration in a box. The cruel manner of his death was talked and is talked about till this day. What led to that drastic actions of his own father? However, 15 days after his death, he was reinstated as crown prince, and his father banned even the mention of his name. And so, Crown Prince Sado disappeared into the walls, hanging and lurking, as his own son, Haenggung, as he rose to the throne of the monarchy. He was very devoted to his father, visiting him often. One of his first statements was, "I am the son of Prince Sado." But Crown Prince Sado's death would be one of thought and dread. Such a cruel execution. Did the crime fit the punishment? Why did the father, that his own father, feel the way did he feel? Why? What actions led him to receive such a cruel death? Not exile, but death in a small box, alone, as he met death. A father that killed his son in such a brutal way, and a son who respected and thought of his father, who died in such a horrid way, who visited him often, a name they shared. How are we meeting death? What happens after death? There are various articles, and I'm going to read you one that I found. I'm not going to read you the whole article. It's Science Says There Might Be Life After Death. 21 Scientific Theories That Make Us Wonder. It's on Science Sensei. You can find it very, very quickly. There are a few things, anything from your mind's a quantum computer to copies of yourself in different universes. It makes you wonder. They're so very different. Which one do you think is the most obvious or plausible explanation? One thing it says as well is information cannot disappear, and as we are information itself, we go into the universe. Or the universe is a giant hologram, or anything to our brains generate electromagnetic fields. one that's fascinating is that there is a common pattern among those who have near-death experiences, that they float above their bodies. One that I'm fascinated with is the one that says that our conscious scatters into the universe in waves, into the stars. Does it matter, really, what happens after? Should the obsession and the fear of the unknown keep us from living in the present? Stuff we know, the known. I don't know the answer, and I'm sure you don't know the answer. So I escape into my writing and my storytelling, not feeling alone, as we all share a common goal, a common end goal. It's just, how do we meet that goal? What stories do we tell when we reach the end? The memories and the stories we collect makes us human. Lived experiences. Nothing is too small or too big. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Take care. Until next time.